Oh, I forgot the music again.
That's okay. Did you forget? Did you remember? There we go. Hey, it's a new day.
It's a new day.
Every day's a new day, but we're on at a different time now.
Yes, it's just so everybody remembers today is Wednesday. It is not Friday. You have not missed some days. We are here on Wednesday because that is what we're doing now. The RANT moved to Wednesdays.
Made a command decision last Friday that we were moving it to Wednesdays. Yes. And so here we are.
Yes.
Time for the RANT.
Time for the RANT on this beautiful Wednesday. I have shared it out on a couple groups. If you are watching and have that ability to share it out, help us help the world have a radically affirmative new thought by shifting our news feeds and our algorithms and clicking that share button. Mm-hmm. And every which way you engage in this will support this beautiful expression of new thought out in the world. So thanks for clicking.
Yeah, thank you so much. How are you doing today, Steph?
I'm doing great. It's a Wednesday, so I'm usually, in my Wednesdays are peak performance kind of days for me. I get things done. I spend some time editing and doing things. So I'm right as rain today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great today. So it's the whole new paradigm today is that, Wednesdays will be the RANT in the morning, and then here, well, for morning for me, 9:30 a.m. And then we have a midweek prayer service here at Unity in our prayer room. That's at 12:30 local time. Mm-hmm. And then tonight we actually have a healing circle here at Unity of Tucson, because we do a healing circle when there's a fifth Wednesday in the month. And the healing circle is an hour of like being in the container surrounded by prayer chaplains here who are all praying on your behalf. And
oh, wow.
It's really a beautiful experience. Yeah. So I'm excited. Today's a great day.
Today is a great day. Yeah. I love the bookends of that. Like when Wednesdays are also the second and fourth Wednesday, we have deep soul meditation. Mm-hmm. And so a bookending days of spirit. So good. So
yeah.
Good.
We've also started, my associate minister, Reverend William, has started a Wednesday evening service once a month called RL at UT, which stands for Real Life at Unity of Tucson. And it's more of like a get together, interactive, like conversation. It's not like a formal, hey, I'm up here giving a talk kind of experience. And so that's on the third Wednesday of each month.
Nice.
And we're going to start doing sound bath on the first Wednesday of each month.
Nice.
And then I'm looking and saying, well, what do we do the second and the fourth? Well, I think we're going to do spiritual cinema on the fourth Wednesday of each month.
Nice. Yes. Oh, I love spiritual cinema. That's great.
We're going to keep offering stuff. That's what we do. We keep
Imagine.
We keep offering opportunities to explore the principles of the New Thought spiritual philosophy so that we can enhance the quality of our lives, because that's what it's done for me.
Yes.
It's the quality of my life.
Yes.
By adopting and practicing it, not just by learning about it. That's the thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's one thing to read the book 5 or 6 or 7 times. It's another thing to practice and embody its teaching and change your life. As I hold up this amazing book, I'm going to be teaching for the 4th time coming up in the next little bit. And, we're here to embody this beautiful philosophy and change our lives, transform our lives.
Right.
It's amazing.
That's why one of my favorite passages to ever read is the reminder on page 423 of The Science of Mind, where Ernest Holmes wrote, in conclusion. It's funny because I always joke it's in conclusion, but look how much of the book is left.
Yeah. So much.
In conclusion, what the world needs is spiritual conviction followed by spiritual experience. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have them repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It's what we're talking about. It's not just about memorizing platitudes and affirmations. It's about living from the point of view of a divine identity and knowing that is, how we can transform our lives.
Living from the divine identity.
Yes.
Love it. Love it.
So tell me again, what brought you? Hi, good morning, Sherry. So funny because now that Now that we're on Wednesday morning, I'm like, Sherry's just in her office right over there. So good morning, Sherry.
Good morning, Sherry.
So here's the question. I know that you've answered this before. We've all talked about like our path to coming to the spiritual path. What brought you to New Thought, Steph?
Oh, I had a background of being a seeker. Like I in my life had been, saved as a Christian and walked through Buddhism and paganism and earth-based religions. And so I've always been a seeker. And when I found New Thought, what I was seeking was a community that wasn't going to judge me for being my authentic and real self, who at the time I was just discovering for myself as well. And I walked in, through discussion with my spouse now, finding a community together was really important. Finding a community that was open-minded and that kind of thing. And so finding New Thought, we walked in and heard the announcements and we were like, oh, this is it. Like it didn't take much to find that the New Thought community here in Winnipeg, Manitoba was a loving, open, and inclusive community that was really talking about oneness and unconditional love. And that's what my soul was looking for at the time, because I had spent 20 years beating myself up. And the New Thought movement, the New Thought philosophy for me is being able to first be made known that I'm taking responsibility for my own life, to be accountable for the decisions I am making, and that I have the power to shift and change, to grow and evolve from something I didn't want to be anymore. Yeah. And that was someone who was just forgetting who I really was. So that's what the New Thought movement has done for me. It's helped me find myself.
It's great. You bring up one of the fundamental principles that we teach is that separation is the thing that leads to, or the consciousness of separation, the idea that separation exists is what leads us to experiences of discord in our lives. And what that basically means is, if we think that we can be separate from the divine, if we think that we're somehow separate from God, then we set ourselves up to actually have discordant experiences, to have challenge in our lives. And it's not to say that, even in the construct and the idea that we are, I fully accept, it is part of faith for me, it's part of my faith, that there is absolutely no separation. That is fundamental to me.
Yes.
And yet I still have momentary experiences in my life that feel challenging. And the thing that I always try to remember is that, a spiritual path is not meant to eliminate challenge entirely, but it gives us a context. It gives us a way of moving through it, knowing that there is, a solution to every perceived problem, because problems are only perceptions.
The tools to elevate our lives with grace.
Yeah. So here's my question. What New Thought principles, what ideas are coming up for you? What's happening in your world that perhaps we could offer a New Thought perspective on?
Yeah.
That's really what we're here to do, is to start to shift perspective. That's really what New Thought is all about, shifting perspective from separation to wholeness. And in that consciousness of wholeness, we actually empowered to do something about our lives.
Yeah.
Let
us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Bring us your stuff.
Yeah. Let us know what's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Up here in Canada, yesterday was or Monday was election day for us. So we have a new experience up here that is no longer, we don't have to just, our news feeds are no longer going to be submersed in who to vote for, but now we can shift back into the livingness of our lives. It's so great.
You know what I miss about Canada is that period of time was only about 6 weeks whenever there was an election.
35 days.
It literally is like years of that in the United States. And it gets so
it never stops.
Exhausting. Yeah. It gets so exhausting.
Yeah.
So
what are you guys working on?
Yeah,
here's the test about it's our first week on Wednesday, so we will be reminding people. But there was a reason we chose this time. It seemed like a good time. People were saying it was a good time for them.
People specifically asked for this, like this time when we said we were thinking about shifting from Friday. Kind of the first words were, "Hey, do it on Wednesday." Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's what we're trying.
So here we go. Go.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. You know, we have a actually, I know. We have a where is it? I gotta find it. It's over there. I want to ask you, what does integrity mean to you? And the reason I ask is because tomorrow, May 1st, is a new month here. Well, it's a new month everywhere, not just here. But each month, Unity of Tucson has a guiding theme, and the theme for May is going to be integrity. So what does integrity mean to you?
Being true to your word, meaning what you say, saying what you mean, and following through on all of that, including making amends if you need to, or speaking your truth when you're feeling shy. Being true to your authentic self and acting as if you know who that is is a huge part of integrity for me.
I think about integrity, you know, the thing is, if something is in integrity, it means that it is whole, right? So I always align integrity with wholeness to really root in the understanding that if I'm in integrity, there's no aspect of me that is separate. And so really wholeness is what integrity is all about for me. It's like, in fact, I got asked a question because we create these little cards that we hand out with the month's theme. In fact, I can go find the card and put it on the screen in just a moment.
Nice.
But I got asked a question about the cards for May because of what I put into, here we go, May, because of what I put into the background. So this is the card, and this is the affirmation that will be our guiding affirmation for the month. So integrity, living in integrity demonstrates that I am infinitely whole, right? I got asked, why did you put a puzzle behind? I said, because if the pieces of the puzzle are all intact, then then we can consider ourselves to be in integrity. So it's just a metaphor for that, right?
Yeah.
Living in integrity demonstrates that I'm infinitely whole. And that was written by our prayer chaplain, Cindy Gardner, here at Unity of Tucson. She's a snowbird. So she and her husband, who are both prayer chaplains, they're up in South Dakota now for the summer. They'll be back next winter.
Fun.
Yeah, we have a lot of snowbirds here.
It's Arizona.
It's Arizona.
Those who are living in the snow need to have somewhere to go sometimes to warm up our bones. Sherry responded to our comments earlier. When you leave the house, how you doing in the world? When you leave the house and every turn you take seems to be hitting a wall, knowing the truth of who I am, but also tired.
You know, I have days like that. You know, I'll tell you where I'm hitting a wall right now. It's challenging. I am feeling challenged in this.
Yeah.
I have had this shoulder issue, right? I've told you about it. And, you know, I've been in physical therapy, and I got an MRI and got all this stuff done to look at it, figure out, you know, what physically is going on. And physical therapy seemed to be going really, really well. Like my range of motion was increasing, the pain was reducing, and like in the last week, I feel like I've had a setback. You ever feel like you have a setback?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what is that about? Because like all of a sudden, I'm in so much more pain on a consistent basis, and the pain is like really localized now, where it was much more like broad. Now it's really localized into this one area. And it's like, just when you think you have, progressed,
Mm-hmm.
it feels like a setback. So talk to me about setbacks. What do you think setbacks are all about?
Oh, geez.
In fact, if I were to ask you, so say that I would
Mm-hmm.
come to you for some spiritual advisement around this issue that I'm having with my
Around setbacks. Mm.
what would you say to me as a minister?
Let's pray.
Well, yeah. Which I do.
Yeah. I've been going through the same thing with just my hip versus shoulder, right? Like I had a significant amount of pain. I was doing, so as a minister, I would become relatable to you. Like here's how it's shown up in my life, and yeah, like sometimes the pain is there. I've learned to not take the pain for granted. It helps me stay clear on where I do want to go and focus on that. But I would be treating for the wholeness and the perfect expression of your body already knowing what perfection looks like. And in oneness, if I'm feeling pain, I have pain in my body. It doesn't stop my consciousness from being its perfect self, its creative substance, and all of that. So when I'm in pain, I focus on the work of it, or the wholeness of it, and just trusting, that faithfully this pain I'm experiencing is for my highest and greatest good, or I wouldn't be experiencing it. That's my belief. And like we always say as ministers, you can find the belief and faith for yourself. But for me, I'm literally sitting in pain, and how do I move forward in that, with that, until my body and my consciousness can be in alignment with the no pain, I guess. Yeah.
Something so there's a quote of Michael Beckwith that just kind of came up for me, and I've never really equated it to physical pain, but how could it be equated to physical pain when he offered pain pushes until vision pulls? Right. So if I'm continuing to be pushed by this physical pain, what is the vision that I should adopt? Well, and I'm not asking you to answer this because only I know what the vision is that I should adopt. But what is the vision? What is the vision that I can adopt that would allow myself to be pulled by that vision and alleviate the experience of the pain? And it's not just, mostly I think he's talking about psychological pain that many of us experience. But, how is it applicable to physical pain?
Yeah, I've had a year of this, right? Like a year ago, last month, I fell downstairs and did some incredible work to my lower back, my coccyx, my hip. Like I've been dealing with that, and I had been in a place where, why can't everybody just get over their stuff? I was just living, I was just getting frustrated with the level of messes, other people's messes, and this is all my perception and experience. This is all going on inside my own head. I have to clean up other people's messes. That's my thing. And that's the consciousness. And so falling down, hurting myself. And now I need to trust people to clean up their own messes. I need to adopt some more faith in the people working for themselves and all of that. And what in that experience, because I had forgotten my life has been so rosy since I found like really found myself, found my boundaries, learned who I am, remember who I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
These beautiful things that I had forgotten what significant pain was like.
Mm-hmm.
And so when this happened to me, I was like, I determined this is for me. This has happened to my physical body for me to come to a better understanding, a deep and more compassionate and empathetic experience as a minister to help other people who are in chronic pain and don't have the same, like I fell downstairs, my things can be healed, but there's people in my life with fibromyalgia or spinal injuries. There are people in my life that I could not have any awareness, even though they try to tell me what their level of pain is. I could not have an understanding and a level of compassion that I now can, because I have lived with pain every day for like over a year. I've been in the experience and using this beautiful philosophy and teaching in my life to shift my mind about the pain, to deliver my awareness to a deeper understanding of the physicality, because I have been living the last 5 years in the clouds. I got my rose-colored glasses on, and if you fall down the stairs and those glasses get knocked off you,
Mm-hmm.
I am still who I am. I still have the faith I have and the beliefs I have about this beautiful philosophy that I can shift and change, and my consciousness. My consciousness is everything. And so
Right.
my consciousness alleviates the significant pain while I, support my body in a self-love, self-care kind of way.
Yeah. Two things occur to me as you express that. One is, I think about Myrtle Fillmore's healing journey, which is what
Mhm.
the entire Unity movement really is founded on. Myrtle Fillmore was diagnosed with tuberculosis. I know many of you know this story, but I'm going to recount it because it is the foundation of Unity. She was diagnosed with tuberculosis. And at that time, the prognosis for tuberculosis was not good. We're talking the late 19th century, mid to late 19th century. And she goes to a lecture by a metaphysician named E.B. Weeks. And during that lecture, she hears these words. He spoke these words: "I'm a child of God and therefore do not inherit sickness." Right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a child of God and therefore do not inherit sickness. Something resonated in her in relationship to those words.
Yeah.
Something on a feeling level. She went, oh, there's something in this for me to know. And that is what she took into her prayer work. She started to ruminate on that through prayer and meditation. And the healing, ready? I'm going to say this, and I really want you to go with me on this. The healing of her tuberculosis was instantaneous 2 years later. What was it that took 2 years? It was the convincing of her own mind.
Yeah.
Right. And so as I sit here and think to myself, you've been on this healing journey for over a year. I've been on a healing journey for many months now. What is it that we are still needing to convince our minds of to allow the physical expression to dissipate? So it's no longer required for our experience. And that's the thing. I will allow myself to acknowledge that this is a requirement for my experience because it is teaching me something.
Yes.
And so I can sit in the faith. I can sit in this faith. I am grateful that the body knows exactly how to go back to its wholeness. And that this pain experience is part of that process of moving back to its state of integrity and wholeness.
Yeah.
And so I guess the question really then becomes for me, is it going to take me 2 years to be convinced, or am I going to make a new decision? Which then makes me think about another story.
Yeah.
Do you know Dr. Frank Richelieu? He's made his transition from this plane of action to the next. But he was a significant figure in the religious science world. And I heard him give a talk once where he talked about working with Ernest Holmes. And he was like an assistant working with Ernest Holmes, and he got a cold, right? And he's walking around and he grabs a box of tissues and he's walking around the church with this box of tissues and sneezing and blowing his nose and sneezing, blowing his nose. And at one point he walks past Ernest Holmes' office, and all he hears is Ernest Holmes yelling out the door, "Is it going to be one Kleenex or the entire box?" You get to make the decision, right? But it's got to be a decision rooted in conviction and faith. There is no other alternative. So
yeah. I love that. This household has bought into allergy season. Oh, yeah. Right. So I love that. There's Kleenex boxes in every room of this house right now, hallways. But the whole box or just one, it's up to us. Yes.
Yeah.
Living knowledge released. Love it.
Realized.
Does that say realized? It does.
Yes.
Living. So I'll also be able to just fix my eyesight. Just fix my eyesight like that.
Yeah.
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 So we have some more viewers right now. Now's a good time. What else do you want us to talk about? What radically affirmative new thought do you want us to unfold? You've just heard a couple of stories about what we've been talking about. So if you've been listening, we'd love for you to chime in. Let us know your thoughts. Do you have a demonstration in your life like Myrtle Fillmore? Is there something in your life that you would love everyone to know that this works, this philosophy works, our tools work? Share with us. What's your story? We would love to know for sure.
Yes. So one of the things that I do in my I'm teaching a practitioner class right now. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I do in my practitioner class is I'll do basically here's a quote. Tell me about this quote. So Steph, I'm putting you on the spot. Oh, again, my God.
I'm just all over the spot tree today.
Yes. So I'm just going to read this and you reflect on it from your point of view and how this is beneficial. The universe is impersonal. It gives alike to all. It is no respecter of persons. It values each alike. Its nature is to impart, ours to receive. When we stand in the light, we cast a shadow across the pathway of our own experience. Emerson advises we get our bloated nothingness out of the way of the divine circuits. What comes up for you around that?
Yeah, get your bloated nothingness out. I use that Emerson quote
I do too.
All the time, even to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. What comes up? I'm an inlet and an outlet of divine source.
Mm-hmm. And?
Yeah.
What is the benefit of knowing that the universe is impersonal?
It's such a relief it's such a relief to know that it's impersonal, because that means it's listening to me just like it's listening to the wealthy and the wise. It's the divine law that is present for all of us is present for all of us. It doesn't need likes or follows or anything. It's our awareness of it is enough for it to shine in our lives. And that's beautiful. So, and it's something I aspire to acclimate and to act as in my life, to be impersonal towards the things, to not judge, to not label, to just be present. Well, that's my example. Source is my example to live by.
I love something you just said, which is basically the universe doesn't require likes and follows. It doesn't work better because we like it or follow it. Like it just
Yeah.
does its work. And that's
Yeah.
really the whole thing of, it's impersonal. It does what it does.
Yeah.
And, when we are in conscious accord with that which is constructive in our lives, gosh, how beautiful is that? How beautiful is
I
that?
think that quote, that's Science of Mind, right?
Yeah, it's from section 3 of the introduction.
Section 3 of the introduction. Yeah, like,
What is
so
that?
reading that for the first time, like, the first class I ever took was Building a Healing Consciousness, Science of Mind 103 from back in the day.
Yeah.
Um,
I have my thing up there for the Science of Mind 100 series, my certificate.
mhm.
Yeah.
And for me, it's just so, it was one of the most freeing things I've ever learned about God.
Mm.
Right? Like from our backgrounds in spiritual philosophy and indoctrination and domestication of what society wants us to know about everything.
Mhm.
That we're supposed to be doing it their way because that's the way it's always been done. And coming to a philosophy that's like, wow, you're God, all powerful, absolute, infinite, and eternal, is indifferent about all the mistakes you think you've made
Mistakes
that
are
we
ideas.
use to beat ourselves up,
Yeah.
right? We use all of these things, all the labels and the judgments of ourselves and of that other people have of us. And so to be in a faith where God is judging me and being in a place like that was causing harm so much in my life that I had chronic depression and anxiety because the universe was not supporting people like me at the time.
Mm.
Me being queer,
Right?
non-binary, out of the box, rainbow unicorn kitten, me.
Yeah.
And walking in and hearing things like that in my very first class, that God is impersonal.
Mm.
It was like so freeing to me
Yeah.
that God loves me in the only thing I need to know is that I exist, and that's enough. Like I wake up today, I'm breathing. What a glorious day that is level playing field and no mistakes from yesterday God's holding against me.
Right.
There's nothing I've ever done to disappoint the divine.
So many of us seek to matter in this world.
Mhm.
Right? And so we end up engaging in activities that we think are going to help us matter.
Yeah.
And sometimes the challenge is remembering that we matter just because we exist.
Mhm. Yeah, just
You know, there's we don't
because you're
have to
here.
prove anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're here. That's enough
Mhm.
to be like, you're in front of me. That's enough. I need to know to
Mhm.
be loving and supportive of you.
Yeah, Dr. David Walker wrote a book. It's called "You Are Enough, Always Have Been, Always Will Be." And
Mm.
when it first came out, and this is 10, 15 years ago at this point. Gosh, I can't, easily 10, 15 years ago, because I'm pretty sure he made his transition in 2011,
Mhm.
2010 or 2011. Anyway, um, he writes this book called "You Are Enough, Always Have Been, Always Will Be," and he got a little backlash around it because people were like, what does that mean? I'm enough. Like I always have been enough. Like people wanted to latch onto the idea that your enoughness had something to do with your doingness in the world rather than just
Mhm.
your beingness.
Yeah.
And what if we really let go of the notion that anything we do should be uh, judged
Yeah.
for the truth of our beingness? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, live and let live, be and let be, love and let love.
And so it is.
Yeah. I'm going to put my glasses on. Seems like we need to completely redefine our idea of our beingness to include universal energies as a real and available aspect. Universal energies, yeah. That's exactly what we are. Yeah.
You know, and I think that there's even a transformation happening in the New Thought movement, because for a long time, and I still see it, you know, rear its head in New Thought communities, the language of separation is very much infused in the way we talk about this, but we teach oneness through a language that tends to incorporate separation. It happens in a lot of New Thought music still, and if there are any musicians out there who've written songs, I want you to know that if I sense any separation in your lyrics, I might rewrite your lyrics a little bit. Because really the I am God point of view, which is, and I want to be really clear, I am not saying that I am the allness of God separating myself. I'm saying that I know the truth of all creation. It is all God, so I must be God, and so must you. We are all God, right? There can be no separation. I think we are on the precipice of really this idea becoming a fundamental shift in the way that we language, you know, and language is always shifting and changing and unfolding. There's a quote that I love of Charles Fillmore, who says, you know, we speak of God in the third person, and then we speak of God in the second person. He's talking about the progression of the manner in which we articulate our notions of God. And he finishes that quote essentially by saying, the time is coming when we shall speak of God in the first person, for we shall have displaced all consciousness of separation. That's what we're here to do and know and be, is to grow more profoundly into the oneness principle. God is all there is. We can't be separated from the all that is,
Radically affirmative New Thought.
Radical. Just like all of the New Thought luminaries, those who founded this movement, they were called spirits in rebellion, right? Because they were legitimately rebelling against what was commonly accepted as the spiritual path of the time.
I'm making you big. My cat's about to destroy my gate. Hang on a second.
Oh, okay. So I guess I'm going to just continue to chat here and say hello. Good morning to William. Grateful to see you this glorious day. So yeah, this whole notion that that we are somehow separate. My encouragement is that we let go of that notion once and for all. And what might that do in service to your life experience? If you were to truly adopt this frame of mind, I know the truth of my being, I am God, and so is everyone whom I encounter. Then you can never have a conversation that is not God conversing with God. And what would that do?
What would that do?
You know, I see a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
I see a lot of conflict.
Like, even within our own organizations or movement, right? There's I just think there's room for everyone at the table, or there wouldn't be a table.
Right.
And it's fascinating if we all just saw the divine in each other, no matter what was being spoken. First see the divine, then be impersonal about it, because it's not personal. It's perspective. And how would we show up? I love that.
Yeah. All of a sudden have the hiccups, which is unusual. I never.
And the pain in my hip went away.
And so it is. Yeah. You know, we're having conversations in unity. There's a movement happening right now for the integration of two organizations. Sound familiar?
Yeah, CSL to become
what the ramifications of that might be. And, you know, there are people on both sides of that discussion some who are very much in support of it, some who are very much not in support of it.
Yeah.
And the reason I bring that up is because you're right. Even in our organizations, we still have discussions that are rooted in conflict. And
even though, like, so in Centers for Spiritual Living, for example, we have guiding principles, and we have a vision of this is what we believe. And even those are not enough to let everybody know we're at the same table.
Right.
Even though everyone at the table is reading the same thing and saying, yes, this is what I believe. This is what I believe. This is what I believe. And then they pull out their chair from the table and go, we're different. No, we're not different. Oneness is oneness. You can't teach oneness another way. Oneness is oneness. But if we struggle and resist that, like, no, my idea of oneness is more valuable than your idea of oneness, then it's not oneness.
Right. Yeah. What is the vision these days? I'm like, what is the vision of CSL these days? Is it a world that works for everyone? Is that
yeah, a world that works for everyone. Right. Awakening, like the mission itself is awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence.
Right. I have no objection to that.
Yeah.
And the vision being a world that works for everyone. Well, a world that works for everyone means that we must be open and allowing to let other points of view be articulated and not take it personally if they don't align with our point of view.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean it's invalid.
It doesn't mean it's invalid. Yeah. Like in what that impersonalness of the divine, right? There's no good, there's no bad, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no up, there's no down.
Right.
And so, like, we're just right here, immersed in it.
Yeah.
There's nothing and no thing that can limit or hinder or block its presence.
Yeah.
And here we are trying to separate ourselves and, like, I don't want to be in a box, so I'll make a box to be put in. What? Yes.
Terry, I think this is an astute point of view. I'm totally fine with that. I am of God. I think that would be that would certainly be acceptable to many people and is an easier way of expressing the oneness principle. You know, does it leave any room for, is there any aspect of you that is not of God? That's the thing that I would look at and consider. Just, you know, is there a tacit notion in there that there's any aspect of you that is not of God? And even in saying, I am that which is, I am that I am, you know, is there any tacit lingering idea that that is not true? Yeah, but I have no objection. In fact, in the seminar lectures, one of the things that Ernest Holmes said, I think it was seminar lectures, he said, we are not one with, we are not, what was it? We are not one with God. We are not one in God. We are one of God. He literally articulated that, and it is a game changer, I think. And he's saying that in some ways, recanting some of what the science of mind, because there's a lot of dualistic language in the science of mind. And he said it, I think, in some ways to address how he had evolved in his own thinking, because the seminar lectures were from much later in his life. They're more than 20 years after the science of mind had been published. And he was basically saying we need to rethink this whole premise to more fundamentally accept that there can be no separation and start articulating it on a consistent basis in that way. So,
well, even, I mean, we don't talk about the Bible a lot, but in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was of God, and the Word was God. Like, that's so. The premise of even the Christian philosophy is that the power of our word, the word is what is made whole, and it is of God and through God, and all that.
Yeah.
It's hard to remove a lot of dualistic language. Like it's creating habits.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
My cat is like using the microphone as
Yes. I hear the purrs. They're lovely. I've been working on incorporating, when possible, this idea of oneness in my interactions with others physically and mentally. I have found people are hungry for basic goodwill from each other. I find that
Absolutely.
too.
Yes.
I find that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I people are hungry for basic goodwill. So it's so true. Jonathan and I were talking before we came on together. Like I am craving community connection. I'm craving like a more engaged physical experience of friendship and community and connection, because I live so I'm by myself a lot. I'm in this room a lot. I'm quiet a lot. People come in and start talking. I'm like, oh my goodness, there's people talking. And so that wanting, I'm hungry and wanting to be around people who lift me up, who inspire, who motivate, who challenge me to elevate and evolve. Like all of that good stuff. I think being hungry is a good way to say that. For me right now. I'm hungry for it.
Yeah.
Sherry's got something here. Recently, I heard someone say God is my co-pilot, and I feel this still has a feeling of separation.
It does.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
It's to say God is sitting next to me, not God is the motivating life force energy within me.
Yeah. I always even too, like the Ernest Holmes would have said it, like the mind behind my mind. So connected, but still separate from, so that, it's like re-looking at language and how we engage with the dualistic expression. Okay, cat. My gosh.
Yeah, my talk on Sunday is the theme of my talk is actually inspired by a quote from the Oversoul essay by Ralph Waldo Emerson, where he talks about the soul of the whole. And, really the point of view being that there cannot be any, like, the soul is the soul of the whole. Our soul is the soul of the whole. And there cannot be any edge to it. There are no edges in that. And what would the implication of that truly be, to truly live from that point of view?
This is your talk coming up?
Yeah, on Sunday.
So you just heard it. If you want more of that, you can visit Unity Tucson, their website. They live stream. You can watch them on YouTube. If you're in the Tucson area, go down and see and become a part of this community. I have been there. You will not regret your decision to show up to this community. It is filled to the brim, pressed down and overflowing with loving people and such great joyful noise. Oh my God. I love it there.
You've just given me such a lovely commercial. You've given this community such a lovely commercial.
Feel free to use that in your commercials. This is being recorded. Yeah, it feels good to be. It feels good to be there. It does. Yeah.
I feel good being here.
Yeah. And community is important to do that. I am who I am today because I have immersed myself in community in multiple places, right? Like I started my journey here in Winnipeg. It was at the time called the Center for Conscious Living, which then became the Center for Spiritual Living Winnipeg. Then Kelowna, CSL Kelowna. Like I've been all over the place. It's been wonderful.
So just on that, I was looking at, if you're on Facebook, you get a notification that you've got your memories, like things you've posted in years past on the date. My memories from yesterday, so apparently April 29th, 2018 was a Sunday.
Mhm.
And that was back when I was in the midst of trying to find a physical space. And so I was doing all of my Sundays virtually, right?
Right. Yep.
Imagine that. I was virtual. I was exclusively virtual before we all had to be virtual in 2020. But I had a special guest on April 29th to offer some insight and inspiration. And it was one of the co-spiritual directors of the Center for Spiritual Living West Kootenai. And that person's name was Reverend Steph St. Amand.
Oh my gosh. I totally forgot that.
Yeah. And so I was watching them like, oh, look, there's Steph.
Yeah. Yeah. During that time, I was a guest speaker all over the place because I was already doing online things pre-COVID, pre-2020. I was already doing online things. So 2021 was very eventful for me all over the globe.
Absolutely.
Speaking via my living room.
So we're coming up towards the end of our hour.
Yes.
I do want to bring this up from this person. And I invite you to answer this question. What is this stream all about? It was recommended to me. What is this stream all about, Steph?
What is this stream all about, you guys watching? We're here to express radically affirmative new thought. We are in a part of the New Thought movement, and we've been doing this. Dr. Jonathan and I have been doing this thing called ministry for some time now in the New Thought movement, and we just love having delicious, deep conversations that elevate our consciousness and keep us growing and evolving. We cannot grow and evolve by ourselves, stuck in the mud. We need conversation and dissecting what we believe. Like Dr. Jonathan, you say all the time, question everything, question what I say, question what we've been taught.
Yeah.
Question what we've been taught. And
I say it to my community every Sunday. I say, I'm not here to tell you what to think, and I'm not here to tell you what to believe. Basically, my work in this New Thought as a New Thought minister is to offer the tenets of the philosophy, to express the tenets of the philosophy, and you get to decide what you will do with them. And so that's what we're here to do. We express the tenets of the philosophy, and we go on exploration.
Yeah, we call them sometimes call them tangents. Because sometimes we go get on a topic, and an hour later we're like, whoa, we just talked about that for an hour.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're here.
Yeah. And for those of you who may be joining in at the end of our hour for the first time, Reverend Steph St. Amand. She is the spiritual director of One Love Awakening, which is a virtual community, but she is based in Winnipeg, Manitoba, up in Canada. And I'm Dr. Jonathan Zenz. I am the senior minister at Unity of Tucson, and that's in Tucson, Arizona. And we are besties for more than a decade.
Yeah, 14 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi, Katie.
So there we are. So well, I think our time is complete.
Yeah. So if you are in Tucson, there's stuff going on this evening. Healing Circle there at Tucson. One Love, we've got Contemplation Corner starting this Saturday. It's going to be the first Saturday every month. It's an opportunity to check in and chew on new thought principles together. We're going to be working through initially the creative mind, little essays by Ernest Holmes, one at a time. So it's going to be fabulous. So that's happening too. You can find out everything about each of us on our social.
Yes. All of our social media platforms. It comes up in the final reel. But basically, Unity Tucson is where you can find me.
Yep. At One Love Awakening. Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Love
I was
you
just telling
all.
Steph that we just standardized our social media handles because they were different. And yesterday we went through and we said, we got to standardize it all.
Standardize. Yes.
Yeah. Grateful.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Remember, next week, we're back on Wednesday because we are now on Wednesdays for the rant. So until we see you again, lots of love, peace, and blessings to everyone. Have a great week.
Bye.